Dear students, I welcome you all. Today I will be talking about an important topic entitled leaf adaptations to water stress. As you all know, a leaf is an extraordinarily important organ of the plant where the world's most important reaction of photosynthesis takes place. The leaf on one hand is using water as a reactant in photosynthesis, and on the other hand it equally uses it for cooling the plant by transpiring it. The two important physiological processes of plants, photosynthesis and transpiration, are strongly connected because both use the common pathway of leaf pores or stomata to occur smoothly. The stomatal mechanics strongly influences both of these physiological processes, and the two processes go smoothly as long as there is good availability of water. In water scarce conditions or xeric habitats, plants have developed a wide range of adaptations which are aimed to increase the water economy of the plant. These adaptations involve morphological, anatomical and physiological aspects of a plant. Leaf, being at the core of plant water relationship, is also modified to various degrees under different levels of water stress. These modifications, which involve leaf morphology, leaf anatomy and subsequently leaf or plant physiology, are aimed at efficient water conservation and inhibition of water loss. The capacity of inhibiting or extremely minimizing water loss and its efficient economical use is the survival secret of plants which are able to grow in xeric or water stress conditions. The various types of adaptations which are shown by leaves to water stress can be studied under three heads. 1. Morphological leaf adaptations, 2nd. Anatomical leaf adaptations, and 3rd. Physiological leaf adaptations. Let us first discuss some important morphological adaptations which are shown by leaves to water stress. The first one is the occurrence of caducous leaves. In some xerophytes, leaves are shed under water stress conditions. They are also called as drought deciduous plants. In them, leaves grow normally, and with the onset of drought or water stress, they are shed from the plants to minimize water loss. The second leaf adaptation to water stress is a reduction of leaves or their modification to spines. The spines are best found in the phylloclade of cactus. The cactus plant shows the highest level of leaf adaptation, where the leaves are modified or reduced into spines to reduce transpirational water loss. The function of photosynthesis is taken over by the stem, which is green and fleshy. Spines also help to reduce heat load and dissipate heat. One more leaf adaptation to water stress is the occurrence of macrophyllae. The plants which grow under xeric conditions produce small sized leaves as an adaptation to water stress. Smaller the size, smaller is the surface area exposed to light, and thus lesser is the water loss. Larger leaves offer larger surface area to light and thus show higher rates of transpiration. Besides, plants cool by evapotranspiration. When water is available, smaller leaves cool faster than larger leaves. The next leaf adaptation to water stress is the formation of phyllodes. This is one more leaf adaptation in plants in response to water stress. In Australian acacia, with the onset of water stress, the pinnae are shed from the rachis, and the green petiole is modified into a leaf-like structure. This modified, flattened and fleshy petiole is called as phyllodes. The phyllodes immensely reduces water loss, stores water and carries out photosynthesis efficiently. The next leaf adaptation is the occurrence of needle-shaped leaves in many xerophytes. This is best exemplified by pinus plant, which develops needle-shaped leaves with minimal surface area and a larger volume. The needle-shaped leaves offer little surface area to light, which therefore contributes a lot in reducing water loss and transpiration. Besides, total leaf volume controls the amount of water available. A ratio of lower volume to larger surface area results in a rapid water loss and rapid wilting, whereas a large volume to small surface area immensely reduces water loss, which proves vital for survival. One more leaf adaptation in response to water stress is the occurrence of polymorphic leaves. In some plants, when there is sufficient water available in the spring, plant bears or gives out broad surface leaves which show high rate of photosynthesis. With the onset of drought or water stress, it produces smaller leaves which are pubescent and thus minimize transpiration. The next adaptation which leaves show to water stress is the occurrence of trichophily. The presence of trichomes or hairs on the leaves and stems of plants is called as trichophily, and the plants which bear such hairs are called as trichophilous. Hairs play an important role in minimizing transpiration. The hairs form a shield around stomata, thus not allowing winds to accelerate a rate of transpiration. Next important leaf adaptation which is witnessed in the grass leaves is the phenomenon of leaf rolling. Leaf rolling is an excellent adaptation shown by grass leaves during water stress to minimize transpiration. The spatial buliform or motor cells in the upper epidermis are responsible for inward rolling of leaves, which covers stomata, thus minimizing water loss. The one more adaptation in water stress conditions is the occurrence of succulent leaves. In some xerophytic plants which are adapted to water stress, the leaves are succulent and fleshy. The leaves store a lot of water which is then used during drought or water stress. One more important and peculiar type of adaptation found in the plants is the vertical leaf orientation, or also called as solar angles or leaf orientation. The steeper leaf angles or vertical orientation of leaves reduces solar interception at midday when air temperature is high and transpiration can be severe. The light strikes these leaves in morning and in the evening when heat load is minimum. At midday, the leaf orientation is parallel to the radiations, which reduces solar leaf interception and thus efficiently cuts or minimizes water loss. Dear students, color is also very important. Leaf color is also taken as an adaptation. Studies have proved that light colored leaves or glossy leaves reflect light. They show a high reflectance. This lowers the temperature inside the leaf and thus prevents loss of water by transpiration. One more important adaptation found in the xerophytic plants is the occurrence of window leaves. This adaptation is best shown by the leaves of Haworthia retusa against water stress. The leaves of the species are small, deltoid shaped, forming a rosette. The apical portions of these leaves are translucent, which allows the light to reach to the interior of leaves or photosynthetic region. These translucent windows expose the photosynthetic tissue to light, and thus such leaves are called as window leaves. Now we come to the second category or class of adaptations shown by the leaves to water stress. These are the anatomical adaptations. The anatomical adaptations shown by leaves to water stress include presence of a thick cuticle, shiny waxy surface, sunken stomata, small number and size of stomata, thick epidermis and hypodermis, Puliform cells, as we do have them in the grass leaves, water storage tissue, small cells and small or little intercellular spaces. The first one is the thick cuticle. In order to reduce or prevent water loss from the leaf surfaces, the leaves develop a thick layer of cuticle which does not allow water molecules to escape from the leaf. This adaptation contributes a lot in water economy of the plant, especially under xerophytic or water stress conditions. Then we do have the shiny waxy surface. The wax coating acts as a barrier to water loss from the leaf surfaces. In addition, it is shiny and thus reflects light, therefore minimizing leaf temperatures and also transpiration. Then the next and important anatomical adaptation which is shown by the leaves to water stress is the occurrence of sunken and smaller stomata. The stomata in the leaves of xerophytes are sunken in depressions on the leaf surfaces. These depressions or cavities offer a long diffusion path for water molecules, for water vapors, besides hiding the stomata from the direct winds which are known to drift a resistance layer and accelerate transpiration. The stomata in xerophytes are generally less in number per unit area with a smaller pore size as compared to other plants. In some xerophytes, we do have the number of stomata more per unit surface, but still we do have a smaller pore size as compared to other plants. The next important adaptation shown by leaves to water stress is the formation of a water storage tissue. The water storage tissue is found in fleshy leaves of many xerophytes such as Ochrodinus bacatus, Alu and Heliotropium basiferum. The water storage tissue is found prominently in the interior core or center of the leaf, surrounded by compact palisade tissue. The cells of the water storing tissue are usually large and thin walled. The next adaptation is occurrence of epidermis and hypodermis. In many xerophytes such as Nerium, the leaf epidermis is multiserrate, consisting of colorless, compact isodiametric cells. In some xerophytes, the epidermal cells are colored owing to the presence of anthocyanins and beta-cyanins in them, which act as screens to light and thus reduce insulation. In Nerium, the leaf is also having a multilayered chloroenchymatous hypodermis. The leaf epidermis on the adaxial surface in grasses is having special buliform or motor cells which are large sized and which help in leaf rolling during water stress to hide the stomata from the external atmosphere, thus reducing water loss. This phenomena is best called as hydrocarry. Dear students, one more important anatomical adaptation which is seen in the leaves which adapt to water stress is the occurrence of small cells and small intercellular spaces. The mesophyll cells of non-succulent xerophytes are small sized with little or no intercellular spaces which help in minimizing water loss during water stress. Now, let us discuss some physiological adaptations of leaves which prove very helpful in minimizing water loss under xeric or water stress conditions. The first one is the reduced permeability of epidermal cells. The leaf epidermal cells show either a very low permeability or no permeability at all. This reduced permeability of the leaf epidermal layer is an adaptation to reduce and cut transpirational water loss under water stress or xeric conditions. The second adaptation is the closure of stomata during the daytime and their opening during the night time. The leaf adaptation to water stress reaches its maximum in camp plants, while the water stress has led to the evolution of a wonderful physiological mechanism or adaptation to water loss. The stomata in this group of plants open during cool night hours and remain closed during the day to reduce the transpirational water loss. The CO2 is taken up during night and the assimilate product is stored in the vacuole in the form of an acid, which then dissociates during the daytime or during light to release this CO2 for photosynthesis. The one more physiological adaptation found in the plants to water stress is the presence of special metabolites. The leaves of xerophytes contain pentozoans, many polysaccharides and many types of acids which help them to resist the water stress or drought. The pentozoans are synthesized in the cells owing to their efficient water binding ability. These pentozoans along with nitrogenous compounds in the cytoplasm accumulate water inside the cells, resulting in succulence. One more important physiological adaptation of xerophytic plants or the leaf is the active metabolism for wall synthesis in the leaf cells. The leaf cells witness an active and quick conversion of chemical compounds of cell sap into wall synthesizing material. The polysaccharides in these cells are actively converted into anhydrous forms such as cellulose, suberin, lignin, etc. This metabolic process helps cells in depositing thick and impermeable walls to reduce water loss. Dear students, the water potential is also an important physiological process or a physiological phenomena. The leaf cells under persistent water stress, as in xerophytes, are adapted to maintain a very low water potential. This low water potential helps plants to absorb water efficiently from the soil. Besides, the high osmotic pressure helps these cells to remain turgid. Now we know that leaves show morphological, anatomical and physiological adaptations to minimize water loss under xeric conditions of water stress. The morphological leaf adaptations which prove advantageous to water stressed plants include small size of leaves or microphyllae, needle shaped leaves, leaves reduced to spines, petiole modified to phyllodes, leaf rolling, window leaves, hairy leaves, fleshy leaves and leaf orientation. The anatomical adaptations of leaves include sunken stomata, thick cuticle, presence of builliform cells in grass leaf epidermis, small cells and small intercellular spaces and presence of thin walled water storage cells in succulents. The physiological adaptations to reduce transpirational water loss in water stressed conditions include reduced permeability of epidermal layer, stomatal opening in cool hours of the day or during night only, as in camp plants, synthesis of metabolites which can bind and absorb more water such as pentozoans, synthesis of wall material at a faster rate, higher activity of enzymes and maintenance of a very low water potential inside the leaf cells. Dear students, with this we come to the end of today's lecture, that was leaf adaptations to water stress. I take your leave and hope to see you in the next lecture. Thank you.